Hey, what's up? Today we're going to be making an 80% hydration sourdough bread. Considered as high hydration, this is a simple recipe but for pro bakers like you. I'm going to show you all of the tips and tricks to achieve a beautiful open crumb with lighter and thinner crust. So let's get into this, shall we?
This is the recipe for two breads. I have 14 gram salt followed by 560 gram water, mix little bit. Of course, active starter 140 gram. Nothing fancy, mix little bit and go ahead and add 700 gram bread strong flour. With your hand or spatula, mix the dough little bit. We don't want to knead this dough. We just want to mix the wet and dry ingredients until there is no more dry spots. I know it's a mess, but a scraper can help you. Clean up your hands. This dough scraper helped me a lot. I also clean the side of the bowls like this. Cover it up and let it rest for 30 minutes. The dough is shaggy at this stage. 30 minutes later, as we all know, the magic happened and the dough gained lots of strength. Now go ahead and give this bad boy one set of stretch and fold. Go under the dough, lift it up, stretch a little bit, and then fold on itself. Wet up your hands as much as you need. And now grab the dough, lift it up a couple of times, and try to round it up inside the bowl. Shouldn't be perfect, something like this. Now again cover it up, clean everything and let it rest for another 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, same thing happened. Come back with wet hands and another set of stretch and fold. But first, let me show you how smooth and elastic this dough it is. This is the result of right hydration for the flour I choose to bake with. The flour is so strong, so I can increase the hydration easily. That was the most important secret you need to know. This time I'm gonna stretch the dough a little bit more to make sure I have beautiful gluten development. And as you can see, after the second stretch and fold, the dough not gonna be sticky anymore. Now cover it up and let it rest this time for 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, your dough should look like this. Look at those bubbles. We are already there. Let me show you how strong it is. Look at that. Beautiful, smooth and elastic. Again, if your dough wasn't look like this at all, you need to reduce the hydration. I perform one set of coil fold. And again, cover it up, let it rest for another 45 minutes. And 45 minutes later, we're gonna perform another set of coil fold. Of course, with wet hands. This is the last set of coil fold, so you need to be gentle at this stage because we don't want to lose all of those beautiful fermentation and bubbles. The dough should look like this after last set of coil fold.
Now I'm gonna let it finish its ball fermentation for up to 2 hours. My room temperature is around 26 degrees Celsius.
My room temperature is very high, so I am looking for 30% rise. The dough should release from the bowl easily. It's puffy, airy. It's not gonna be that much sticky. Of course, it's high hydration. It's a little bit sticky. And all of those beautiful bubbles and fermentations are a good sign. And if you flip the dough gonna release from the bowl easily. For high hydration dough like this, make sure to wet up the surface and wet up your hand at this stage. I'm gonna separate it into two beautiful pieces. If you made only one loaf, you can now round it up with the help of the surface, pre-shape it and let it sit on the counter for 20 minutes, of course uncovered. I highly recommend you to not skip pre-shaping, especially for high hydration doughs. Like so, you create even more tension and the surface of the dough dry up a little bit so the shaping would be smoother and easier. This can also be another evaluation for you. The dough is airy, not stick to my hand, and it's hold its shape, and that's very important. 20 minutes later, use a little bit of flour, sprinkle on top of the dough. With the help of a scraper, I'm gonna bring it on the surface. If it was a little bit stickier than you thought, don't panic. Just be gentle. I'm gonna show you two methods of shaping. Be my guest and use a little bit more flour if the dough was difficult to handle or stickier than you thought. Now into the banneton, I'm gonna let it rest on the counter for 10 to 15 minutes because the temperature is so high, and then transfer it into the fridge for overnight proofing. And this is another, let's say, simpler method of shaping. I rather to shape like this when I'm dealing with high hydration doughs. Especially for these high hydration doughs, we don't want to push the dough while we are shaping. We just want to release a little bit of air and try to create more tension. So be very gentle. My fridge temperature also is something between 2 to 4 degrees. Into the fridge, and the next beautiful morning, I bring my pizza peel and a baking paper, because why not? It's way easier. And transfer the doughs on a baking paper. And let me show you two methods of scoring this time. If you are a completely beginner, this scoring is not for you. Please use only one hand to score it. And of course, you can sprinkle more flour if you feel it's sticky to score. Safety always comes first. Last but not least, to achieve crispier crust, I have a complete video on my channel. You can check it out later. But this is my oven adjustment. The best would be one of this baking steel, but one of this upside down tray also works beautifully. I have another extra pan to pour boiling water later. And that's it. You can get fancy and spray a little bit of water too. 230 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes with the steam, then remove the steam, reduce the heat to 215 and bake for another 20 minutes. Now let's see what we got inside. This is the one that we use simpler shaping method. Gorgeous crumb. Look at it. And this is the fancy one that we push through the shaping. The crumb is a little bit more even. Best for PB&Js, butter and honey, everything you like. Alright, that was it. Like always, keep baking and take a good care of yourself.